of Parliament to look into the leaked audio tape. Stay with us. Very interesting details and how things played out earlier today at the committee hearings. Plus, President Akufo-Addo inaugurates 5-member committee on emoluments with a call on the committee to focus on public concerns about emoluments for Article 71 office holders. Meanwhile, Director of Research at the Institute for Economic Affairs, IEA, Dr. John Kwachi, wants the committee to recommend a freeze on the Article 71 office holders emoluments. We have details of this, plus the latest in business, sports, and entertainment coming up for the next 60 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 3FM 927. Welcome. Let's get into the details now. I am Alfred Ocansey. The Director of Operations of the Ghana Police Service, COP George Alex Mensah, has denied plotting to remove the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare. COP Alex Mensah also told the Parliamentary Committee probing a viral leaked audio tape that the IGP is mismanaging the police service. A senior police officer made these comments on Thursday, August 31, while appearing before the Parliamentary Committee probing the leaked audio tape in which he is heard in a conversation with the former Northern Regional Chair of the New Patriotic Party, Daniel Buguri-Nabo, about the possible removal of the Inspector General of Police. He is also on the tape captured as saying, being seducted and did not accurately reflect the content of the original conversation, adding that he does admit that indeed it is his voice on the leaked tape. That COP Alex Mensah admits that this is his voice on the leaked tape. He's one of the two persons plus Buguri-Nabo on it, but the original content of the conversation did not reflect any plan to remove the IGP. Take a listen.
There's a likelihood that somebody can fake my voice, but I can't confirm because I don't have that technical system to confirm it.
Is there any flow of conversation on this tape that you, in true humility, will say that nobody is faking my voice? Or it is the entire tape that you want to say that somebody is trying to, fake your voice?
The chairman, not the entire.
Well, that's COP Alex Mensah there. This is not the only point that he made, that he suspected it could be the case that his voice was doctored. But then again, he admits that that's his voice. He was in the said conversation, but there are some aspects of it that was not him. But he also says that Daniel Buguri-Nabo lied to the ad hoc committee when he appeared before them 2 days ago.
So at that time, you trusted Chief Nebu as an honest person who can lobby to secure you such a big office. Is that not the case?
That is so.
Do you think he has changed?
Pardon me?
Do you think Chief Nebu has changed? Because today he has appeared before this committee and then under oath made some emphatic statements about what you discussed with him, including that the admission of the fact that the audio in question now was taped by him, it was done by him, and that the voices we are hearing are your voice and that of Commander Asare. And you said before this committee to indicate that that is not entirely true. And I'm asking, has the honest person you trusted some few months ago to do the lobbying for you, has he changed to be able to lie before this committee, as you have already alluded to?
Mr. Chairman, that is obvious.
Obvious that? What is obvious?
You are saying that he has changed, and I'm saying that is obvious.
Is Are you implying that it is obvious that Chief Nabu is not the honest person you thought to be?
The chairman, Chief Bugri Nabo came to this committee, told a lot of lies, including lying that he spoke to a certain superintendent whom he has never spoken to.
Well, that's the Director of Operations of the Ghana Police Service, COP George Alex Mensah, telling the Parliamentary Committee probing the viral leaked tape that the Inspector General of Police sought to have him removed. He is saying that Daniel Bugri Nabo lied about some aspect of his testimony to the committee, but did not deny the fact that, yes, indeed, he is one of the two persons whose names were mentioned by Bugri Nabo as having been in that conversation with him on that leaked audio. Beyond this, COP George Alex Mensah is making the allegation that Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, the IGP, is mismanaging the Ghana Police Service. And he was asked why. He's saying so. This is his response.
Honorable Chair, I will not deny that fact today, tomorrow, or the next day. I will make that statement again, that the current Inspector General of Police is not managing the police service well. It's something I will not run away from. I will say it everywhere, anywhere that I go. And you can do your own investigations, call police officers underground and find out from them.
Commissioner, calm down. Calm down. Can you assist this committee? You see, within the context of your statement, it had to do with elections. So let's do some quick analysis of his conduct relative to elections. Has he evinced some level of unprofessionalism when it comes to the policing of elections, to the best of your knowledge? Because you spoke within the context of the conduct of elections.
Honorable Chair, my concern was and is that as we speak, majority of police officers are not happy. And if these same people are those who are going to police the elections, and remember, police officers, they vote. Their wives vote. Their children vote. Their mothers and fathers vote. That is my concern.
Is there bad blood between yourself and the IGP, your current boss?
The chairman, as I sit here, I don't have any bad blood. But what I do, I speak my mind, whether you like it or not. You're my boss and you do what I don't like, I'll tell you. You can decide, hate me for that, that is your matter. But I don't have any bad blood.
So your answer is that there are several professional disagreements. That's what we're saying. There are never personal issues, but professional disagreements.
That is correct.
Okay.
Chairman, let me go to the last point. That you were in the reckoning to be IGP, and that a report was purported to have been sent to the president, which included your name from the conversation, and that the secretary to the president, Nana Beduito Asante, did not provide that information to the president. Was that a subject matter of discussion between your good self and Chief Bugri Nabo?
The chairman, that is one of the portions of the audio that I don't trust. Because I know we discussed about the report by bringing the name of Nana Beduito in, still cannot remember.
So there was a discussion on a certain report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
A report which emanated from where?
Mr. Chairman, as usual, those reports are prepared by the National Security.
And, are you a member of the National Security?
No, Mr. Chairman.
How did you become privy to the contents of a report that was prepared solely for the president?
Mr. Chairman, all due respect, this is something that I would not want to discuss here.
Anadu came and made you a commissioner, is that correct?
That is true, Mr. Chairman.
And so when you make a statement like this, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, and so when you stated, as was captured in the audio, media, I have been MPP member since long time, before I even joined the service. And now we need, because if you don't break the 8, that's my only objective. Anybody I meet, I tell them, we need this man. He can't help. You became an MPP member since you have been an MPP member long time before you joined the service. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, my family has been with the UP tradition ever since I was born, and it's remained there till now.
So as you speak, are you a card-bearing member of the MPP? Wait, why not?
Mr. Chairman,
I think you've answered it in a way that you are not a card member. No. Come on. This can lead to problems for this man. Okay, let's. It's leading into temptation now. No, it's a bar. What is the meaning of this?
Chairman, with the greatest of respect,
yes.
I don't think this question ought to be admitted.
I was just going to tell him. I was going to tell him that this is not fair.
It's very dangerous for the force.
Cancel.
Very dangerous.
Cancel.
He may have ambitions later in life, and you want him.
Yes.
But make some admissions.
Oh.
Chairman.
Can't remember.
Okay. Just a second. Honorable Chairman,
The sympathies.
the Honorable Patrick Buama has usurped your power.
So, those were excerpts of the proceedings of the 7-member ad hoc committee established by the Speaker of Parliament to probe the viral leaked audio tape that sought to have the president remove the Inspector General of Police. 3 voices captured there. 2 out of the 3 voices have indeed confirmed that they were on that said leaked audio tape. Daniel Bugri Nabu, the former Northern Regional Chair of the MPP, who mentioned the 2 names, that's COP George Alex Mensah, whom you just heard responding to questions from the members of the committee established by the Speaker of Parliament to look into this matter. Very interesting developments today during the hearing, and you heard it there, and he confirming that he has had his family strong ties with the UP tradition and so on, and also confirming, in fact defending his position that in his view the IGP, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, has not done a good job and he is mismanaging the Ghana Police Service. He was questioned as to why he believes so, plus other matters that came up with respect to that audio, and they said ideas that he was pushing on that conversation that was captured on tape. Now, there was another person who also appeared before them, that Superintendent Emmanuel Jebi, one of the senior police officers implicated in this leaked audio tape. And he, during his appearance before the committee, indicated that he has not met Bugri Nabo before. In fact, he says he doesn't know him. Duke Mensah Opoku sat through the committee's hearings for the second time. He says he doesn't. Superintendent JP says he has not met Bugri Nabo before.
He says he doesn't know Bugri Nabo. He doesn't even know what he looks like. He has not met him before. There's no way there could have been any conversation between both of them, and he doesn't know him.
And this is the director of the Cybercrime Unit,
yes,
and Child Protection,
yes,
at the CID headquarters.
Yes. Yes, he says he doesn't know him. He has not met him. And he doesn't know about the content of the tape and the discussion that led to it. He is absolutely, he doesn't know anything in relation to this tape. He doesn't know Bugri Nabo. He hasn't met him. He hasn't had any conversation with him.
So this is the person that Bugri Nabo in his testimony said he was supposed to meet him at Afrikiko.
Yes, they were supposed to meet at Afrikiko so that they go to the president together, because Superintendent Asare had told him that he would not be available and that he had some prior engagement, so he would not be able to go with him to meet the president to discuss, the matters in issue in relation to this audio tape, and that he was delegating that power and authority to Emmanuel Jebi, Superintendent, who now apparently we are finding out, according to what he said at the oath before the committee, and mind you, anything that you say in that committee which is later found to be a lie, that would amount to perjury. It is a serious crime, because the committee sits fully clothed with the powers of a high court, and the chairman of the committee fully clothed the powers of a high court judge. So anything you say under oath before the committee that turns out to be a lie is tantamount to perjury, and he knows this, and he indicated before the committee that he had not met Bugri Nabo before. He had not called him. In fact, he doesn't even have his number. They've not had any conversation, and whatever is being said, whatever he's been implicated in, he has absolutely no knowledge of it.
I see, but he didn't turn up for this said meeting with Bugri Nabo at Afrikiko, did he?
He did not, according to Bugri Nabo. Bugri Nabo said in his words, said he was very disappointed that they had this agreement that they will turn up, meet at Afrikiko at a certain point in time, and then after that they will move to Flagstaff House. You know the proximity of Afrikiko
and the Jubilee House,
to the Jubilee House, and even where we are. So no connection intended.
If you know where 3FM and TV3 is, you know where.
Yes, no connection intended. But
that
like
was a walking distance.
Yeah, so that's with Emmanuel Jebi. He was, his testimony wasn't even up to an hour, and he was just discharged. And now the real deal for the day began to unfold.
With COP
George Alexander Mensah.
And you know what struck me in there? The fact that he confirmed a number of things, but then says that he believes or suspects that some aspects of the things on the tape were doctored. What did he state specifically where he suspects has been doctored?
So that was the subject of a lot of gymnastics, if you like. Semantics and grammatical gymnastics all through the process. At one point in time, a member of the committee would come in and ask, so is this part of the tape? Was this part? Then he would say, more often than not, he did exercise his right to remain silent. He would say, he would not speak to the matters. But he did say there are portions of it where he indicated that he doesn't remember saying those things, and those are part of the doctored.
For instance, the portions you don't remember, plus it's actually being true.
So there are portions, for instance, the part where he said Dampare was an NDC man. Mahama had promised him that he would maintain him and that he was in court. All those parts, when he was asked, he said no, he doesn't remember ever saying those words, and that those are part of the doctored portions. But there are parts of it that he admitted to. The fact that he said he's an MPP member and all those. So he, in fact, put on record that he's an MPP sympathizer. He comes from a family that has been associated with the UP tradition. The UP tradition is the progenitor party, or if you like, the ancestor party of the MPP. Says himself and his family, they've been associated with it, and that all of them, they are all politicians, including himself. He did indicate that. So, he said that portions of the tape are doctored, other portions he confirms are his voice. So he was walking a fine line of accepting that this was what he had said, and then of course denying, and he did not mince words in saying that Dr. George Ekufu Dampare, the IGP, is leading the police institution in a manner which he is not happy with. He says the IGP is mismanaging the police institution. He's not managing the police institution well. He insists on that, and he will repeat that everywhere he goes. And that if the committee would want to, they should conduct their own underground investigations, or they should conduct their own investigations, and that a lot of the people in the police hierarchy are not happy with the way Dr. George Akufo-Dampare is leading the police. And he has boldly said that on any platform, he will say
he's going to repeat that and stand
by that conviction that he doesn't like the way the IGP is managing the police institution. He mentions how even now send-off ceremonies have been taken off as part of, when senior officers like himself, he's on leave prior to retirement. He will go on retirement. He did confirm before the committee that he will go on retirement on the 16th of September. And he was asked if he was going to be sent off. He said, well, that is a matter that he will decide. And even the IGP himself now has taken off. Sending off ceremonies as part of the modus operandi of the police, if you like. So now it's not as if first, you have senior police officers going and they will be dragged out in sometimes in a procession and all of that kind of. And he served the police service for over 31 years. It came to light before the committee today. And in fact, he did indicate that he has been lobbying to be the IGP from 2017. And indeed, Pugri Nabu sent someone to come to him for a CV for the purposes of lobbying for him to become the IGP. Yes.
I see. But there were some concerns raised by his lawyers about some two members of the committee,
right,
and their pronouncement in the media. What is that all about?
Right. So even though they did not mention it, the matters they raised goes to this legal principle of natural justice. What we would say in Latin as nemo judice in causa sua. That's a man cannot be a judge in his own cause. So if there is the likelihood of bias because you've made certain prejudicial comments, then those on the other side, counsel opposite can always make that application that because of so and so, we do not trust the judgment. We think that his judgment is impaired in this matter. It's the same matter that they put across. They did indicate that two gentlemen for that matter, Superintendent retired Lanchini Tobu, MP for Wa West, and James Agalga, MP for Busa South, had indicated clearly, that mincing words, that in the case of Agalga, he had indicated on the floor of Parliament, which was captured by the Standard newspaper, that the comments that was heard on the tape is tantamount to treason. Tobu had said in an interview, I think on Neat FM, we had been captured by the Ghana Web, that the police officers who were engaged in the plot rot in hellfire. All of them, Tobu said he had never granted such an interview. He doesn't know where Ghana Web picked up the story from. Agaga on his part conditionally confirmed. He said if, which means that he had qualified the statement, and the exercise to qualify the statement was the probe that was underway. So it cannot be made categorically clear that he had said the comments were treasonable. And that in fact, he said if the comments are found to be true, and the exercise of finding out whether it's true is what is being engaged in. Nevertheless, the lawyers went ahead and said they would tender in, audio tapes where these recordings to that effect. They also had issues with the time span. They said they received an invitation yesterday and they are supposed to appear today. How are they supposed to prepare? They also had issues with the terms of reference of the committee. They wanted a copy to be handed over to them so that in the scheme of things, they will know how things feature. So these were some of the preliminary objections. All of them, fortunately or unfortunately, council did not have a good day before the committee. They were all squashed. He indicated that he will still provide the evidence to the committee. Again, COP George Mensah indicated that there are portions of his testimony that he wouldn't like to give in public because of its sensitivity and the fact that it borders on matters of national security. Well, the chairman of the committee, Samuel Atacha, told us later that if it becomes necessary, the committee would give room for him to make such disclosures in camera. Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear from Atacha on this matter.
Some testimonies and pieces of evidence might have national security implications, and therefore in-camera hearing is one of the ways to address a problem. So when we come to terms with that, why not? We invite him to give us in-camera testimony. We will not stop them from tendering evidence which should aid what we are doing. Guess what? Even the members of the committee are not enemies of the witnesses at all, or the people involved. And therefore, if you start doing what they call evidence gagging, then you are biased ab initio. That is why I said anything of consequence that they will need to aid what they are doing, they should give it to them freely. And they are about to do that. In the same token, if there's anything which is exculpatory of them and they have, the committee should look at it. And if there's plain bias about certain things, I've said one thing which is very important. I would not be the person trying to get biased members of the committee to mess them up. So I don't have the lenses of bias. But if they believe that the committee is not properly constituted, then it's above me. I'm not the one who constitutes the committee, the speaker.
Well, so that's similar touch on there. And Duke Mensa Poco, so when is the next meeting, the sitting of
Friday.
this committee?
Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we'll have a part 2 of COP George Alexander Mensa, and we'll get to hear Superintendent George Asari's testimony, fresh.
Those are the 3, in addition to Bugri Nabo, who were captured on this particular tape. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Duke Mensa Poco sat through the hearings of this 7-member ad hoc committee established by the Speaker of Parliament to look into this leaked audio tape capturing a plot to allegedly have the president sack the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, and we've been playing to you aspects of the testimony of COP George Alex Mensa, who is earlier appeared before the committee investigating this. That's the Director of Operations of the Ghana Police Service. Also, we had earlier other persons who were billed to appear before the committee also indicating that they needed more time. And so that's what the committee granted and are going to look into going forward. But let's do this very quickly, because earlier today, the Accra High Court dismissed an application for the asset seizure and freezing of the bank accounts of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Abena-Dapaah by the Office of Special Prosecutor. Now, Justice Edward Chum ordered the Office of Special Prosecutor to return the recovered funds to Cecilia Dapaah. Now, in his ruling, Justice Chum held that the Office of Special Prosecutor breached the Special Prosecutors Act 2017, Act 959, when he filed the application after 14 days. Now, the court also noted that the Special Prosecutor was in doubt of the true ownership of the alleged tainted property found in Cecilia Dapaah's house, and hence failed to convince the court that the alleged tainted property were used in connection with corruption and corruption-related activity. The presiding judge questioned the Special Prosecutor on how he arrived at the conclusion that the said property had been tainted. He added that there was no justifiable basis for the OSP to exercise the power of seizure under Act 959. Reacting to the ruling, in fact, there's been a number of legal reactions to this, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about this evening, especially because the OSP did not act in oblivion. There was a specific reference to the provisions of the OSP Act on the basis that gave the power to the OSP to do this. And private legal practitioner Martin Pebu is joining us on the telephone. He is a leader of one of 3 individual bondholder groups and also the convener of the Kumipeko demonstration. Martin Pebu, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. Now, did this turn of events in court earlier today surprise you?
Yes, partly yes and partly no. So there are 2 different applications. The one on the seizure, you see the money that was found in Madame Dapaah's house, the $590,000, and then the 2.7 million Ghana. Yes, the refusal to do it, that one, I think the judge could have done something to help. So Mr. Kikejabin didn't go to court within time. The judge could have helped. As for the freezing of the accounts, once Mr. Jabin didn't attach the bank statement, that's the side, the one that says the volume of transactions, $5 million and the 48 million Ghana. I don't know why on earth Mr. Jabin was hiding the statement. I don't know why on earth you do that. That is elementary. You are going before a judge and you don't want to tell the judge what is in the account. The judge is not a robot. He's not a robot. It's surprising. Mr. Jabin says he's the conscience of the nation and we are all supporting him. But as a lawyer, you are going before a judge. You don't want the judge to know what is in the account. Under the law, if something has to be secret, you can't hide something like that from a judge. If you think maybe showing those statements in public would cause an uproar or something, And maybe you could have sought special permission from the judge that you want to do those proceedings in camera. You know, under our constitution, there's Article 135. I don't think that belongs there. But let's say if you have attempted, that's the best you could have done. But you don't hide evidence from a judge. You don't hide evidence from a judge. Article 135 talks about things that will cause grave national security. If you reveal that the bank balances is Madam Papa's account, the dollar one was $5 million, and then the CD one was $48 million. What is national security about it? And like I even said, not that they have been told the court that I have this evidence, but I don't want the public to see. I want you to see in camera. He didn't even do that. So how can the judge just, freeze an account when he doesn't know what is in the account? How? It's so disappointing. I support Mr. Jabin 200%, but this one there, he let us down big time. Big time. See?
Indeed, but how about the money that was retrieved, the extra money that was also retrieved from Cecilia Dapa's Abelenque resident?
So that's the one I said. So that one is called seizure. When you go and you take property immediately there, that's the seizure. That's the one I'm saying, yes. That one, the problem was that they didn't go within time. You see, under Section 32 of the law, they should have applied within 7 days. Because you see, you go to somebody's house and pick his car. Go to somebody's house, you pick his money, jewelry, any other thing, you seize it. Then quickly apply to court within 7 days. Let the court decide because, those are checks and balances, using it loosely. So somebody has to serve as a check on the OSC's work because Mr. Kisei have been at the end of the day, so a human being. So there should be ways of checking so that he doesn't go over his powers, right? So that's one I'm saying that, yes, they didn't go within the 7 days. But we all know that, Charlie, $550,000, if you convert minimum, is that not about, when you bring it to Ghana, it's not about 12 million?
Yes.
Or so. About 12 million Ghana. That's a lot of money. A lot. So the judge had to overlook the time and then grant, because, and I'm giving one example, that even judges, when you go to court, there are rules that judgments be given within 3 months, some of them within 8 weeks. All the time, it goes beyond. All the time, routinely, the judgments they give in court, they go beyond that time limit. There's a Supreme Court decision that looked at the situation and saw that if you want to be insisting that judges must give judgments within, for those that is 8 weeks, it must be 8 weeks. For those that is 3 months, it must be 3 months. It will be too much chaos. So, the Supreme Court decided that no, even if it goes beyond, it's okay. I mean, you can report the judge administratively. So what I'm saying that the judge sitting down, even for him, they've relaxed rules for him when it comes to delivering judgments, knowing that the time limit within the law is too strict. Sometimes there are human frailties and pressures of the work. So I was expecting that you will also use that to cover the being on the season of the money in Madame Dapa's house, that's the $590,000 and the 2.7 million Ghana. That's what I expected there. As for the freezing of the account, I can't fault him at all because you've not told him what is inside the account. How can he just freeze? How?
Will there be any basis or explanation whatsoever from the special prosecutor that will warrant he not disclosing the details of this account that he sought to freeze to the judge?
Well, yes, he has me. I can't phantom any at this stage. As I said, for me, what I know is that under the law, the only time, even that one, you cannot say the judge shouldn't see. The only time you say you don't want the public to see, they say do it in camera. That's under Article 135. And that one is not even the High Court. You have to take it to the Supreme Court. That's one provision when we are doing constitutional amendment we have to change. If you say there is some evidence that you don't want the public to see, then you have to go to Supreme Court. So when you file before the High Court, then you appear before the judge and say you should refer this to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to look at it and see. So he didn't do that. This one you just say you won't give the judge. You won't give him. Okay, he will tell you how he sees the case.
Yeah. I've just received a statement from the special prosecutor on this matter. If you could permit me, I'll just read the paragraph 3, because he sought to explain, something, and I'll seek your thoughts on this. He says, while the OSP respects the court's decision, it disagrees with the decision of the court. First, the OSP believes that the court's computation of the time limitation is, with respect, erroneous. The OSP searched 3 private residencies associated with Cecilia Dapa over the course of 2 weeks. The searches and discovery were ongoing during that period. There is little doubt that the OSP filed its application within the statutory window once the search and discovery window is considered. Second, the seizure by the OSP and the special prosecutor's freezing order were effectuated on the very firm basis of reasonable suspicion that the amount and bank balances were tainted property. As Ms. Dapa, it goes on to say, prevaricated as to the sources of the amounts she reported stolen from her residence. The amount discovered by the OSP in her residence and the volume of transactions in her bank accounts and investment were inconsistent with what she had told the OSP already. Third, the freezing order was not based on public sentiment. Rather, it was based on court processes filed in a criminal matter before the Circuit Court, Accra, involving Cecilia Dapa as a complainant. Further, the freezing order was effected to aid the investigation as required by law, not on the basis of the investigation as indicated by the court. Therefore, it cannot be said that the OSP did not carry out proper investigations to warrant the freezing order. The investigation has only commenced and it is ongoing. And he goes on to assure the public that it will take the necessary steps legally to ensure that the seized amounts and the balance in Cecilia Dapa's bank accounts and investments are neither concealed, lost, or otherwise dissipated. That's the statement just coming through from the OSP.
Too little, too late. So the thing is, where the harm has been caused, you should just go and do the needful. Just reapply. Display the information. You should disclose it. You shouldn't hide anything. The law has not asked him to hide anything. If he thinks he wants to hide anything, then he should be going to the Supreme Court. That's all. This statement, I don't know. It happens. I support him, but I know we all make mistakes.
Indeed.
He should just accept his humble pride that, look, he made a mistake on not showing the judge what is in the account, and so he should attach the statements now and go back. That's it. Just as I said, we all make mistakes. You won't get it 100%. When there's an attempt to make it look, they blame somewhere, it's not. As I told you, for me, the seizure one, I have sympathies that, yes, that one, the court could have held, because even the court itself, the rules are relaxed for the court itself to also operate well. And as for the freezing of the accounts, you've not told it. When making information had leaked that the volume of transactions was $5 million, and then the Ghana CD account was 48 million Ghana. Also, volume of transactions. The day came, OSP hid that information. OSP hid Mr. Jabin. He hid that statement. Why would Mr. Jabin hide that information? Why was he hiding it? Who was he protecting? Why? Who was he protecting? Who was he protecting? He should learn from it. We don't want this happening again. Okay.
Does it for you confirm the public sentiment about certain pressures that the OSP could face in his resolve to do the right thing in this case? These happenings, for instance, and you questioning why he did not do elementary things like disclosing the amounts in the account he sought to freeze to the judge, which you say is elementary.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, corruption will fight back. The president knew what he was saying when he told us that he knows Madame Dapa will be exonerated. That's what's happening. So if the public says the match was staged or OSP threw the match, I can't say otherwise. I usually support him, but this one there, I can't support this type of thing. How are you telling the judge to freeze an account? You don't want to tell the judge what is in the account. Let the judge know the money is so much so that see the judge and say, hey, is that so? He's not told him, he just go, freeze it because we suspect X, Y, Z. How much? Is it 1 CD, 15 pesos, or 1 peso that's in the account? How? So you should just read file and this time attach those information he got. You should attach it. And we are also aware, we are informed that there are attempts to make the statements change. Yeah, things leak. Things link.
Indeed.
Right? No, we will not take that from the bank and all those things. No. Here there are attempts that will something to change. You see. So when people say the thing is being staged, the match is being so I can't support OSP on this matter.
We have more on this on Ghana Tonight with you, Martin Pebo. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner and then also the convener of the Komi Reloaded demonstration. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Very, very serious questions that Martin Pebo raises about this latest development with Cecilia Dapa. There's a statement that's just come through from the OSP, which I read portions of, but essentially Martin Pebo says this statement from the special prosecutor is too little, too late. It cannot do much unless, of course, he appeals this ruling by the Circuit Court with further and better particulars of the accounts that he wants the judge to freeze. President Akufo-Addo has called in a newly inaugurated Emoluments Committee to focus on recent concerns raised by a section of the Ghanaian populace on whether or not Article 71 office holders are deserving of monies and benefits paid them as stipulated by the 1992 Constitution of the Republic. The 5-member constitutionally sanctioned committee, according to the president, ought to do a critical review of the work of previous emolument committees constituted by previous presidents and proffer recommendations as to how public concerns can be addressed. Addressing members of the committee at the Jubilee House Wednesday, after swearing them in to office, President Akufo-Addo expressed confidence that the committee will deliver on its mandate. He also tasked the committee to take a look at the best practices that exist in other jurisdictions as far as the emoluments of some specific office holders are concerned.
The terms of reference of the committee are twofold. One, to make recommendations in respect of emoluments and other privileges for Article 71 office holders as specified under the Constitution. And two, to examine any other relevant matter which the committee deems appropriate to its work. It appears that every president is bound to establish such a committee. I think it may be worth our while to examine the practice of other jurisdictions, for example, the American one, where the principles are established and automatically adjusted according to certain objective criteria. This may well be an issue for further constitutional debate and decision.
As the president there, composition of the committee headed by Dr. Janet Fofie as its chairperson, Professor Jambafo, former Minister for Planning, Gloria Ofori-Boadu, a lawyer and women's rights activist, Dr. Osei Akoto, academic at the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana, and Ben Arthur is the CEO of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Now, Austin Game is a celebrated international labor expert. He's joining us on the telephone. Austin Game, thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition on this matter. Now, what are some of for you, the areas that this committee should be attending their minds onto, especially on this issue of the Article 71 office holders and the ex gratia matters arising?
Thank you, Alfred. Honestly, it's been long overdue that the country and its citizens have expressed it loud and clear that they do not want the existing Article 71 in the form in which it is. The article itself, if I were to be the beneficiaries, I would prefer it being changed. Whether it is 72 or 70, it doesn't matter. But the kind of what our traditionalists will call it ogu, that means bad luck, that is associated with Article 71 is too loud and clear. So it is only appropriate that far-reaching reforms are visited under Article 71 and has to be done as quickly as possible. I'll highlight a few for you if time permits.
Yes, just maybe just one would do. The most important in your view.
The most important thing is to have concurrently, like we have been increasing or giving adjustment to the wage level of public sector working people, because all the people, especially members of parliament and ministers of state, and all those who occupy such offices, are part and parcel of the working class that the taxpayers pay. And therefore, annually, as we do adjustments, let's do annual adjustments and then pay their social security and then pay the second tier. Let's introduce a provident fund so we can fund their going tomorrow. We shouldn't wait. But blaming them also is not fair when they have not adjusted their pay from the one they have entered the office till today.
Right.
So in effect, you can't blame them.
Indeed. Osingame, I appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome.
Osingame is a labor expert on this. Naneke Mensah Brampa, what's happening in business?
Right, so the cocoa processing company talking about some loan supports from the Afri-Exim Bank will also be looking at what the GRA is doing. Today they visited the Osu and East Legon stretch, and they closed down about 8 shops and arrested some 2 people. So we have the details. And in a bid to improve its productivity, the cocoa processing company, CPC, is seeking a loan support to the tune of $87 million from the Afri-Exim Bank. According to the company, the facility will help eliminate its current challenges as well as enhance revenue and profits. Speaking at the AGM, Chairman of CPC, Kwiku Usuba, said the loan is critical to improving cocoa beans processing from the current 13,097 metric tons.
We had a meeting with the Minister of Agri, and among the other things, he also reminded us about this, that SOEs may not be allowed to borrow. But we also reminded him about the ongoing Afri-Exim Bank thing. And he asked us to go on with it. I did the process. So it's not lost yet. It's delayed because our net worth was not in a position for Afri-Exim Bank to take a decision to give us the money. Now that way is cleared, and hopefully the process will move faster.
Meanwhile, Acting Managing Director of CPC, Dr. Frank Idu-Asante, expressed optimism that his outfit was on the path to recovery, with some initiatives being embarked on.
The new spread factory, which I'm sure you have seen, which has already been test run, will be fully operational in the coming year. Again, 7 out of 10 new packaging machines for the packing of various sizes of our drinking cocoa and confectionery products will be fully operationalized. A new 3 metric ton per hour coarse and fine milling machine to process a minimum of 25,000 metric tons of beans will be installed and commissioned.
Acting Managing Director of CPC, Dr. Frank Idu-Asante there. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority has arrested 8 shop owners and closed down 2 shops following their enforcement exercise on the issuance of VAT receipts. The Compliance and Enforcement Unit visited some 10 facilities within Osu and East Legon. Assistant Commissioner of the Accra Area Enforcement Team, Joseph Anan, is encouraging business owners who have not registered for VAT to do so or face the law.
It's quite disturbing that you were with us. We went to just a small area and you realize that many of them are not registered. It's an issue we need to tackle. So what we will have to do is, every area has our office, what we call the TSC, who are responsible for the area. So what we need to do is to probably get the TSC, who is responsible for East Legon, to really lace its boots, so that they will make sure that things are done and are done well. Yes.
Assistant Commissioner of the Accra Area Enforcement of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Joseph Anan, ending it for the business news on Hot Edition. When you log on to 3news.com, there's more business. My name is Nana Ikuya Mensah Brampa. Bill Ishen is up next with sports. Bill.
Thank you, Nanekia. My name is Bilish, and this is the time for the sports segment here on the Hot Edition. And let's start from the UCL draw, which was done earlier today. Here is how the groups look like. In Group A, there's Manchester United, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray. In Group B, we have Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV, and Lens. Group C, we have Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, and Union Berlin. In Group D, we have Benfica, Inter, Salzburg, and Real Sociedad. In Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio, Celtic. Group F, we have PSG, that is the group of death, Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle. In Group G, we have Manchester City, Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys. And finally, in Group H, we have Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. Those are the groupings from the UEFA Champions League. Now, to the award winners, Sarina Wiegman was named the UEFA Women's Coach of the Year. Barcelona star Aitana Bonmati took home the Women's Player of the Year. The Coach of the Year for men was Pep Guardiola, and the big one, which was the UEFA Men's Player of the Year, that was won by Erling Haaland. And this is exactly how he reacted after winning the award.
Yeah, of course, I feel good. What more can I say? I won the treble as 22 years old, and I'm kind of living the dream. This was my dream when I was young. So to be able to do this together with my teammates is something special, of course. So I'm really happy, and it also gives me so much motivation to keep on working.
It was a dream, according to Erling Haaland of Manchester City. Of course, he won the treble with that team in the just ended season. Now, let's move on to transfers. Leicester City have announced the signing of Ghanaian winger Abdul Fattah Ishahaku. Now, the 19-year-old joins the Foxes on loan from Portuguese side Sporting Lisbon. This is how he reacted after making that move.
For me, from the look of Leicester and how I talked with the coach, I think here was the best for me. I chose Leicester because I think they can grow me well, and I get more matured.
They can grow him. That's according to Fattah Ishahaku of Ghana, now in Leicester City on loan. Now, to more transfers, Aston Villa have completed the signing of Barcelona centre-half Clement Lenglet. Now, he returns to the Premier League after playing for Tottenham last season. Barca winger Ansu Fati is on his way to Brighton to complete his medical following a loan agreement between Barca and Brighton. In other news, England manager Gareth Southgate has added Eddie Nketiah to his squad for the upcoming international break. It comes after Nketiah was linked with switching nationalities to Ghana. And before I go, the last story in the local scene, Ampem Darkwa ladies have made history by becoming the second Ghanaian club ever to qualify for the African Women's Champions League. Now, they ended up that right after beating Delta ladies by 1-0 in the Wafu Zone B final earlier today. So congratulations to them. That brings an end to the sports segments here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. Up next is entertainment, and Akofa is standing by.
Very much, Bill, for that. It's now time for the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Let's get into the stories now. Reigning VGMA Artist of the Year, Black Sheriff, on CNN Africa's African Voices Change Makers with Larry Mado, described his sound as molding high life with reggae influences. The Konongo-born artiste attributed his interest in these genres to his upbringing, with his dad being a reggae lover and his mom an Alpha Blondie and Adani Best fan.
My mom and dad loves music, and like the first time I met my dad, he put me on reggae. Yeah, so that feeling was different. You understand me? And my mom loves Alpha Blondie and Adani Best. That built like my interest in music, my taste and stuff. So it was very indigenous music and reggae. So high life music and reggae stuff. I think I am high life, whatever I do. Even most of the rhythms, the melodies are bossed like straight high life. But I didn't grow up back then, you understand me? So this is like a modern high life with reggae influences and stuff.
Well, away from that, let's turn our attention to Musica, where an Accra High Court, presided over by His Lordship Charles Jim Fidankwa, has dismissed the injunction against the Musicians Union of Ghana elections, which was scheduled for August 8, 2023. In his ruling, the motion for injunction and the substantive case calling for the union to render its accounts before the elections were both struck out, awarding damages of 10,000 Ghana cedis against the plaintiffs Do Nyamadi and Fred Van Dyke. The plaintiffs, through their counsel, informed the court of their decision to withdraw the case and seek an amicable solution to the matter when the case was called. However, counsel for Musica, lawyer Nana Binging Akon, argued that considering the negative effects that the action by the plaintiffs has had on the elections, the court must award damages against them despite their intention to discontinue the case. And finally, before I go, join 3 Entertainment for our weekly X Spaces at 6 p.m. today as we bring on abled panelists to dissect trending issues. There will be an exclusive interview with Stubborn Academy boss AMG Medical for the first part, hosted by Bellamundi. Our guests for this week include JMJ, Kobiche and Kwejo Sheldon. Join us to discuss music reviews, the good, the bad and the ugly, anchored by Kukiti. Don't forget to get interactive with us on our spaces via our handle at 3EntertainGH on X. That'll be all the entertainment news here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Kofa. Thanks for your time, and I'm back at 8 p.m. with Wind Down. Hi, Alfred.
Definitely wind us down.
You good?
All is well.
Good evening to you.
There's a lot happening in this country. So
yeah, you'll be dissecting that later on Ghana Tonight
on
as well.
Certainly at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
The best thing is that you get the best of analysis before you go to bed. So you dream well, and then you take your decisions the next day. Absolutely.
And I believe one of the issues to be dissected has to do with Cecilia Dapa.
Obviously, yeah. It's going to be hot on the plate.
Very, very hot.
Yeah,
very, very
You're
hot.
Cooking something for 10 p.m.
Cooking well
on TV3. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you for staying with us here on Hot Edition. Keep listening. The drive continues with Giovanni, AJ, and DJ Faculty. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a great evening.